All right, you can see that I now have my adjusted pattern piece, and I'm going to lay it down. I have to fussy cut it on the start, so I folded back the facing, which I don't need because I'm not going to face it. And I want to leave enough space up here so I can cut this banding for the armhole. So you need to kind of plan ahead a little bit. And then I'm going to, now silk is a little fussy to work with, so lots of weights are encouraged. All right, so I made two discoveries when I took the paper, what was left of the fabric, and I folded it in half. I discovered that this is a one-piece sleeve, not a two-piece sleeve. That was my mistake. And I also had room to put the back on it, even though it's on the warp and not the weft, or on the weft and not the warp. I don't remember which one's which. So what I did, because this fabric is really slippery, is I pinned these salvages together so they wouldn't move around. And then I laid these pattern pieces down. And with the sleeve, because this has been cut, I wanted to make sure that there's fabric underneath, right? You don't want to cut the sleeve and have part of the sleeve actually missing. So I checked at the top, there was extra fabric there. So yeah, I have all of my pattern pieces. I don't have to use the gold raw silk. And I still have this border section, which I will probably use to do something for the back neckline. Because remember we said that since we're not doing the attached facing that folds over, we're leaving it raw, we're gonna have to do some planning around the back neckline. So I think I'm gonna use this for that, and that will carry that gold all the way up and around the neck. I might put in a collar. I haven't figured that out yet. We'll see what happens when we get there. So yay, it all fits. Woohoo! Hi guys, Sandy here. Part 2 of Sew Over at London's Anderson blouse. Here it is, this beautiful silk blouse. It's from, the silk was a pashmina from the Middle East that my sister brought. I think it was Sri Lanka. She brought it back for me, but I'm not 100% sure. And it's had all this fussy cutting. So we made a few changes to the Anderson blouse. I shortened up the shoulder and it fits much better. You'll see in the photo. I did not put a facing on this one. I cut it on the fold, and I have some photos about fussy cutting it up here. So I laid this on the edge very carefully, and then I flipped it around and I laid this other side on the edge. So you can see that the pattern forms a nice V because of the crossover in the front. And then I also cut off that binding on the edge and turned it into a tie cuff instead of a button cuff. So when it's tied up, it looks like this. Little, cute little ties, and the ties are everywhere, right? You see them all over the place. So it's a pretty simple process, and I have some pictures documenting it. You fold this in half, sew it right sides together from here to here, and then from here to here. So what you want to do is you want to lay out the sleeve and then lay out this piece and have it centered on the sleeve. And then you need to leave the opening where this sleeve part is so you can sew it to the sleeve, but you want to finish these first. So you sew the edges, the right sides together from here to here, and you sew the end, and then you turn it inside out, and you do the same thing with this one. So when you sew it to the sleeve, these tie ends are actually already completed, and then you sew it here to the sleeve and turn it around and fold the inside and hand stitch it. So you have a nice little band in there. And I have a couple of photos that I'm popping up in and out. And then it just ties together, and it's super cute. You can do all kinds of fancy things on the edge. I left them square. You could make them pointed. You could make them longer. I chose to make this is about 25 inches. I started with 30, and 30 seemed a little too long for me, but the younger kids are wearing them really, really long. I mean, like down to their knees long. But I thought this was just a nice little detail for this blouse. And outside of that, the rest of it is exactly the same as the other blouses. I put a little elastic around the bottom instead of the drawstring because then it's permanent. The only thing that I find that this blouse gives me trouble with is that it doesn't stay closed here. And I wore my other one to work last week, and I ended up putting out like a pin, a brooch right there. On this one,
You can't really stitch it because you won't be able to get the blouse on and off. This opening is how you get it on and off. So you would have to do, if you wanted to stitch this down, you would have to put a keyhole in the back so you could unbutton it and actually take it on and off. So I think my intention with this is, again, to wear some kind of little pin to keep it closed. The rest of this, the coverage is fine. I didn't have too much trouble, but I like the blousiness of it. Now, I'm going to put up a photograph. I don't think it photographs really well on because it is very straight, but it looks great on. It's very soft and feminine, and I've worn it with a pair of jeans, and it looks really cute. I'm sure you could dress it up and put a nice little jacket on it, or even something like this lace vest over it would be adorable. So here we go. This is the Anderson blouse, part 2. I love Sew Over at London. I think Lisa Comfort does a great job with her patterns, and this is another one that's a huge success. So we'll talk to you soon. Have a great day. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, please do so. Give it a thumbs up. Bye.